How many people are really just looking for honest opinions, real recommendations, just someone to turn to?
A lot of the times we let fear take that decision for us. But if we just quiet down the noise and say, why not? What's the worst thing that can happen? Then you can be amazed by what you do.
Places like Dubai give you a lot: opportunity, lifestyle, independence. But at the same time, you're often doing life without the support system you once had. So the question is, how do you build real support? That's what today's conversation is about. Farah, founder of Girls Who Walk, a community where women connect through movement and shared experience, and Zain, founder of Arab Women Connect, a WhatsApp-based platform that's become a real support system for women navigating life here. Finding true friendships as you got older, is it easier or harder?
I think it's definitely harder because it has to be very intentional.
The easiness of calling up your friend and seeing them on the spot wasn't possible.
But I've realized something.
Today's episode is sponsored by Teal Bakehouse, a clean ingredient bakehouse in Dubai, creating gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free baked goods that actually taste indulgent. From sourdoughs and artisan loaves to banana breads and better-for-you treats, everything is made with real ingredients and no additives. Order across Dubai and follow Teal Bakehouse on Instagram for the latest drops. Enjoy the episode. Hi, everyone. It's Tamara. It's just me today. We're missing Judy. Judy's not here with us, but she is with us in spirit. So today's episode is something a lot of people experience, especially when you're living away from where you grew up. Places like Dubai give you a lot: opportunity, lifestyle, independence, the ability to build something for yourself. But at the same time, you're often doing life without the support system you once had. No family nearby, no built-in help, no familiar village. And you don't always notice it immediately, but over time, whether it's through work, motherhood, or just the pace of life, the gap becomes very real. So the question is, how do you build real support, connection, and community when you're starting from scratch? That's what today's conversation is about. I'm joined by women who didn't just feel that gap, they created something in response to it. Farah, founder of Girls Who Walk, a community where women connect through movement and shared experience, and Zain, founder of Arab Women Connect, with her partner Deem, a WhatsApp-based platform that's become a real support system for women navigating life here. This isn't about networking, it's about belonging and what it takes to build a village away from home. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for coming.
Mm-hmm.
We're so happy to have you here. I wanted to ask my first question to you, to both of you. When you first started your life here, did you feel that something was missing?
For me, I didn't feel it initially. When I moved, I was so excited. It was something new. It was getting into the rhythm of moving to my house and creating my life and doing it all. But at some point, you feel something is missing, but it comes later on. It doesn't come when you move. When you move, you're excited. And Dubai has so much to offer you. The excitement, the lifestyle, the energy of the city, it's just amazing. But then it catches up with you slowly and you feel it in the little things, the day-to-day things. You don't feel it like at one moment in time. You just feel it in the little things. And with time, it starts feeling like something is missing, but you can't really pinpoint what it is. But you can't, there's no one to turn to, no one to ask specific questions to. It's harder to find specific things. Mm-hmm. But in general,
you probably found that you wanted that craving for connection you couldn't find alone, or even perhaps through your immediate community where you lived.
Exactly.
And Farah?
I'm thinking, so when I grew up in Abu Dhabi, it was a very small, tight circle of friends, and we all lived next to each other. So whenever we'd want to hang out, we'd just call each other up and we walked each other's houses. That's how simple Abu Dhabi life was. When I moved to Dubai, it was very fast paced. You're always on a highway. People lived far, and when they live far, you can't see them. So I guess that the easiness of just, calling up your friend and seeing them on the spot wasn't possible.
Absolutely. And I know the shift for you was a lot. Like, you're moving from, was it Amman to Dubai?
Yes.
And then you're moving from technically Abu Dhabi, which is what, 40 minutes away, maximum 1 hour, to Dubai. And that was still a shift for you.
100%.
So that shows you that you don't have to move very far to feel that sense of loss. And in terms of growing up, Zain, how did that look for you in terms of community and family and friends?
The community, you never thought about it. It was there. You didn't have to think about it. You didn't have to build it. You were born into it. You never had to do anything about it. You had houses to go to, people to call. There's always someone showing up. There's always something to do. And then all of a sudden you move and you're excited and you're happy and there's a lot of opportunity. But that simplicity of that thing is missing. And you have to build it from scratch. But the thing is, nobody really tells you how to. Like, how do you build that safety net, that invisible safety net that was there since you were born?
And I guess with age, it gets harder too. Like, it's not as easy as like saying hi to a stranger, let's be friends. Like, it becomes different.
That's so incredibly true. I mean, in terms of like growing up, you take it for granted. Like, of course, you have your grandmother, your teta living down the street. Of course, you have your aunt who's 2 minutes away from you. Even in Abu Dhabi, I'm sure you still had that community with friends. So you don't really think of it. And you expect when you move, it's automatically there, but it's not. So did you find that the transition to moving, whether it's, from Abu Dhabi or Jordan, did you find it harder or easier? Did you expect the transition to be like this, or were you shocked? What were your thoughts?
For me, like when you move, you think about the logistics. You think about the house, you think about your routine, you think about setting things up, you think about everything that's practical. But you forget the emotional part of it. You forget that specific part. And I think that's what catches you off guard sometimes. Like, you're just walking down the street, or you miss someone, or you just want to call someone, or just meet up with someone randomly. Like Farah said, like here everything is planned and everything has to have, like, it's scheduled in.
And there's effort that has to come in from all sides.
Exactly.
Whereas like in Syria, I remember growing up in the summers when we'd go to my tita's house, her house was always open. People are coming in and out. And there was no planning.
Yeah.
But here it has to be like 1 week in advance, where we meet, somewhere in between.
Do you find that if you go back to Abu Dhabi, or you go back to Syria, or you go back to Jordan, is the same planning required there the same as here?
Not at all.
No. You go back into that groove, I feel. Do you do the same?
And Abu Dhabi is so easy. Like, whenever I'd want to see a friend, 8 p.m. tonight, okay, let's do it. And it's just easy.
I always question why it's so difficult to plan to see somebody, whereas I just like to come over to your house. Can I come over? Whereas I have to plan an impromptu meeting 2 or 3 weeks in advance.
I think that was the biggest thing I missed. And one of the biggest things that hit me really hard when I moved here initially was that just someone calling me and saying, hey, outside, are you free? Or, hey, I'm nearby, let's go have a coffee, let's go grab lunch. And that was a big part of those little things that catches up to you, basically, in the moments.
Yeah, it really does, especially as Arabs, we're so close and tight-knit, and that can have drawbacks, of course, akid. Thus, our boundaries are quite vague. We just pop into each other's. They're much wider. We pop into each other's houses. We just help. Whether you need help with the kids, you need help with the dishes, the laundry. Okay, well, let's just help. It's not that formal. So, in speaking of our upbringings and the way that you view community and the challenges that you faced here, I wanted to ask you, how did you start Girls Who Walk? What was the thought process behind it?
So growing up, I knew that, I would be career driven. I was ambitious, and I was working at the time. When I got pregnant, I decided, at my 9th month, when I went back to the office after giving birth, I decided that, no, I want to stay at home with my baby. And there were a lot of mixed emotions. There were the hormones kicking in, the feeling of being it's overwhelming. And when I decided that, I felt disconnected. Like I disconnected my world of, being at work, and then I'm just a mom now, and being a new mother. No one talked to me about it because I was the first one also from my family to get married and have kids. So it was all a shock for me. And when I left my job, it just got me a bit shattered in a way where I lost a piece of myself. Even though it was a happy decision and I was confident in it, but there were still a lot of emotions of feeling overwhelmed as a new mother, and I didn't know what to expect. So as a result of that, I started walking every day with my baby in the stroller to feel mentally and physically better. And I wished that there were people with me, or a girl or another mother, that would just talk and like walk together. And as I would see them on the boulevard when I would walk, like I thought that maybe I would group us in a way. So I started searching online, like, is there any networking events that I can join? I attended a few, but they were very inflexible. I couldn't take my baby, or I didn't feel welcome at all at the events. And then I looked at other sports clubs where it was running or cycling, which I couldn't do also with my baby. And walking is very easy and it's not a new idea. So I started my WhatsApp group with 60 girlfriends here that I knew in Dubai. And I said, this Sunday, tomorrow, whoever is free at 5 p.m., come walk with me. And one girl showed up. I remember Suzanne.
Out of 60, one girl?
Out of 60 girls.
Wow.
One girl showed up and she was calling me like, hey, sorry, I'm late. And I hope you guys are not waiting. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's just you. And then we walked around and it was such a nice time. Like I took that time for myself to meet a friend and talk about different things that didn't even have to be about motherhood, but just I took that time for myself. And I continued with that path and started an Instagram page, sliding into girls' DMs who are following gyms or sports clubs that I knew that maybe we have something in common, that they still, are into physical or fitness interests. And yeah, I would tell them like, hey, we're starting a girls' walking club if you want to join us this weekend. So the second time, 3 random girls showed up because I spoke with them. And then the one after, another 4 showed up. And I remember I called up my friend Rula at the time, who started her perfume business. I'm like, Rula, please come walk with us. Like, I would love to hear about your perfume business, how you started it. I never, got to ask you about it. And then she joined our walk with 5 other girls. And we were just walking and listening to her journey as being a new entrepreneur. And I love the idea of just, helping out, like promoting or spreading the news about a specific local business or a female-led business. And at the same time, us learning. So this is what I was looking for, to the connection and to make use of my time by learning a thing or two.
That's so great. I mean, the power of community coming together, and especially bringing entrepreneurs into the mix as a new mom, because I'm a new mom now. I found that a brilliant, brilliant idea. I'll get back to you on that. I wanted to ask how Zain and Reem started Arab Women Connect.
It's a chicken story, actually.
A chicken story. That's why chicken is so important.
Yeah, the OGs of the group know very well. So I was sitting one afternoon and I was looking for a specific kind of chicken. And I was going back and forth, messaging one friend after the other, waiting for replies, and just so much time had passed. And I remember feeling just so frustrated. Like, why is something so simple taking so much time? It should take me 2 minutes. Like, why is it taking so much time? And it clicked then with me that so many people, because the chicken story is the day we started the actual group. But before that, like, you go through life. A few weeks earlier, I was looking for a doctor for my daughter, and it's a heavier topic, and it's overwhelming, and it's serious, and you need the right advice, and you need the right people to look to. So that day, after the chicken, I was thinking, how many people out there are really just looking for honest opinions, real recommendations, just someone to turn to, some place to turn to, for the big, for the small, for the silly, for anything. Okay. And that night, Reem and I started Arab Moms Connect. We started it as Arab Moms, and it grew so fast. It just started as a small group of me, her, friends, and a few friends of friends, but the group grew so fast. And
It's what, 600 now?
Now it's almost 800.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, we're
Wow.
getting to 800. Yeah, and that's a few months only. And on a WhatsApp group, but it showed that there was a gap and people really needed the space and wanted the space.
And I learned which chicken brand to get from. Thanks to you.
I learned so much from your group. But what do you think? I'm going to shift back to Farah. What do you think surprised you the most when you started this group, Girls Who Walk?
Is how many girls actually needed this girls only club where they felt comfortable, safe. There were no hidden agendas. And second, where, Dubai welcomes a lot of new people, and a lot of these new girls were feeling lonely, not knowing anyone here. So whenever I would ask, oh, how long have you been in Dubai for? I would expect 4 or 5 years. They'd be like, oh, 1 month or 2 weeks ago, I just moved. And it would shock me that they're coming here specifically to make friends, or others would come for other opportunities. But the majority would just come to make friendships. And I'm so happy that a lot of actual friendships came out of it. I would hear stories from the girls later, I went out with 3 other girls from that group after our walk, and we're good girlfriends now, we're besties. And so this makes me happy. That's
so nice. That's so nice to hear, because I had the opportunity to talk about my business at Girls Who Walk last Sunday. And you're right. There were a lot of people there that I met that had just moved to Dubai, that were from all parts of the world, that had different stories, different experiences. And I found it so, so comforting. And it's amazing that this is in person. I found it comforting. But at the same time, I'm part of Arab Women Connect, and I find it so comforting there too. But we're not seeing each other. Yeah. Which is so amazing. So what surprised you the most?
Honestly, how quickly it grew and how much people really wanted the space. And it was really nice seeing how many people were actually invested in the group. Let's do this with it. Let's do that with it. Let's do subgroups this. Add that subgroup. We want this. We want that. And we love it. We love the energy in the group, and we love all the input of those incredible women. And it's not a surprise, but it's actually very nice to have. We did not expect to have so many women who have such incredible businesses and doing so well, who contribute to many different aspects, and willing to just come on and share their businesses and share everything. That's one aspect of it. The other one was motherhood, and all the mothers who share selflessly everything that they have learned or they can support with, or a contact that can help you with something, one thing or the other. The amount of support that we have seen in this group, honestly, we didn't expect it to be that much.
What I love personally is the initiative also. There are so many girls willing to take the initiative to answer a silly question or and share their experience and contacts.
And what's even more comforting is these quote unquote silly questions are on my mind all the time. And I'm thank God someone is asking that question. I thought I was the only one. Yeah. So it makes you feel like you're really not seen. Alone. You're seen. You're seen. You're seen physically, whether it's walking, and you're seen virtually when it comes to WhatsApp groups.
We did one meetup initially when we started Arab Moms Connect, but now it's Arab Women Connect. And we wanted to do more, but then things happened. It was just before Christmas. We had one meetup, and then people were traveling. And then after that, everyone was busy before Ramadan. And then after that, situations and stuff. But we are planning on doing a meetup soon.
That's really good. And you're still a community anyways, even virtually. Yeah. And you're still a community anyways through walking as well, because you also have your Instagram where people, I'm sure, DM you and message you and see. Because I asked a lot of ladies, how did you find out about Girls Who Walk? If this is your first time walking, this was last Sunday. And they said, oh, I just saw a post on Instagram. And so the blending of two worlds now is so beautiful. And the fact that we don't have to be so rigid on the fact that we can talk to you, we can visit you. It doesn't have to be planned 3 or 4 weeks in advance, which is so frustrating for some people. And even a small little thing like where to buy chicken or not walking alone, where these are real things. I know they're so small, oh, I don't want to walk alone. I wish somebody was with me. Or I really need to find good chicken. Can somebody help me? these are small things that add up to larger things, you know? It's the point that you want to feel seen. You want to feel like, oh, okay, I'm not alone in this. And I feel like when we go back home, of course, that part of our, you know, I always think of our life as a pie.
Yeah.
And we have different sections of the pie. And I feel this community pie is fulfilled automatically when we're home.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when we come here, we have to make an effort to make it happen.
Yeah.
In that case, how do you feel when you're walking? Like, how does it make you feel that you grew Girls Who Walk from one person showing up to 4 people and now 30 people, and you have what, 20,000 followers on Instagram? You know, so you're reaching a wider group of women and you're just walking.
Yeah.
Like it's so simple.
It's so simple. Yeah, I think that's the crazy part of it. It's just a simple idea, but the need for these girls, like a lot of them keep coming back. A lot of them, they just come and test or experience the club. For me, personally, I'm doing it because I need this time, the me time, as I can call it. I sometimes get my kids, but for me, it's just making sure that everyone's feeling welcome, that new people in Dubai feel like if there's anything I can help them with, whether it's a connection with or a contact for a job opportunity or a contact for their business with another fellow business owner. I think it fulfills me in a way where I try to help whenever I can. And at the same time, you know, walking is a great exercise. It's simple, it's low effort. And if they can carry that on also in their other daily times, then yeah, I feel like it's meaningful.
I think the simplicity of Girls Who Walk, like it's just walking. But when you're feeling alone and you're out of your element and you're out of your community, this little thing goes a long way.
Absolutely. And sometimes, especially in a big city like this, when you get sucked into like work and go mode and your head becomes quite heavy.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that sometimes taking 45 minutes, 1 hour out of your day, or joining a community WhatsApp to see that there are other women out there that are also feeling perhaps lonely, you know, their head is feeling heavy. So these small things, which is so funny, they're so small, they make such a big difference because in your head, you're like, oh, I need a community. How am I going to get that? How am I going to build that? And in reality, doesn't take much. There's no cost involved, very low cost. It's the smallest thing you can think of. Maybe coffee girls connect. I don't, do you know, like things like that can come out of this. So many
things can come out of it. Yeah. Like we started a long time ago, like Girls Who Eat and Girls Who Paddle. And it's just different initiatives that can come across and with different girls who have different interests. And, it's just a fun time to have that sense of belonging while, you know, finding your own group. And I guess there's a fact, I think in Japan, the people live there for a longer time or they يعني بيعيشوا لأطول لأنه عندهم sense of belonging. They tell you how important community is.
Yeah,
it was actually one of the blue zones, I think, where they said that, I think it was Japan and Italy, where their food, I think it was Italy, they're eating pasta and bread and all the, quote, bad things, carbs.
It's the community.
But it's the community aspect that makes them live longer. It is. I wanted to highlight on something that both of you are super, at the forefront of this, is highlighting local businesses. I know that supporting local is always the best way to go. And I know during uncertain times, it's even more important to support local businesses. So was supporting local at the forefront of why you started this, or did it just happen after the fact?
So for me, when it started with Rula and her perfume business, it's because I wanted to, like, even though I had 500 followers at the time, I still wanted to help promote her brand and, where people can know about it. And then later on, it was like other corporate women from Google, Meta joining in, sharing advice, and other entrepreneurs sharing their businesses. So it felt like it's important for us to highlight these local businesses because there's a need for us to know, like, there are other brands out there, other alternatives, especially in different times or difficult times where people were banning specific brands.
And I know Arab Women Connect, I'm used to saying Arab Mothers Connect. Arab Women Connect, you have this, again, I like the idea of, I know you do meetups in person, but I love the idea of walking and virtual because both aspects are great in terms of community building, especially nowadays in the age of digital. I love how there's so many entrepreneurs on the group.
Yeah.
And the amount of support.
We've created a directory like mainly for that, mainly for them to be seen, for anyone on the group. And it's a shareable directory and it's a PDF for anyone to share of all the women with the businesses. So the group didn't initially start for that, but it quickly, within the first 10 days of the group being created, it quickly became a focus because so many amazing women had joined and they were sharing their businesses, Farah one of them. And everyone just wanted to follow each other and support each other and learn more of each other's businesses. And as it grew bigger and bigger, it was harder to keep up. So we wanted everyone to know. So every once in a while, we go on the group and we say, like, share your business, share your page, share your whatever you do. And whatever is not added on our directory, we have it. And I think now we have around 117, if I'm not mistaken, if not more, 117 businesses.
And that's such a lovely way and a very kind way of marketing for these businesses that may potentially not have the budget, may potentially, need maybe one person just to see their business, just one.
It's just a new avenue, no matter what it is.
Exactly. And again, we always go back to the importance of having that community. Our moms might not have been entrepreneurs, for example, but they still shared recipes. They still shared where to shop. They still shared, the best doctor to go to. And so it also goes to show you word of mouth is never going to fade away.
It's inspiring to see like the majority of entrepreneurs here are female.
Yeah.
They are female. They are female led, and a lot of them are mothers. And it's really not easy to have, it's really not easy. I mean, managing Girls Who Walk, managing the group. I see how much effort you and Reem put. I mean, you have kids, you have a life, that's work. It's a lot of work and tracking and monitoring and seeing and potentially even using one of these businesses for you and for your household. You're still going back and you're seeing what could benefit you.
I think I have a special soft spot for entrepreneurs is because I started, when I first graduated from university, I started selling t-shirts. And I'll be in pop-ups, I'll talk to like different stores. And I know the struggle of trying to grow your business. And then like 2 or 3 years later, I stopped it. Later on, I started like a dessert brand. So I know like being an entrepreneur or having your own business is actually much more harder than just going to a corporate job, knowing, what to do. Because with entrepreneurship, it's also a very lonely journey. And specifically, if you're even a mother, like it could be so tiresome, like trying to focus on your kids and that aspect of it. And you don't know how much money is coming in every week because of your business. So specifically now, like I understand there are a lot of business owners that are struggling and I feel for them. It's not easy.
It really isn't easy. And I wanted to actually go back and talk to you about the fact that building a community isn't easy. Like you said, like managing the community isn't easy. But I wanted to ask you why you felt, or did you ever feel that finding true friendships as you got older, is it easier or harder? And why?
I think it's definitely harder because it has to be very intentional. You need to put the time and effort. It's not like when you were younger, it's just there. And you have to put the time and effort. And now that we're also mothers, you think about where you go with your time and with your energy.
You're more cautious.
Very cautious about that. And not because you don't want to make friends. It's because you have a lot on your plate already. Whether you're working or not, you're still a mother. And that alone is a lot.
It's the hardest job.
It is. It really is. So making the decision, it has to be a decision. It has to be intentional. You have to be open to it. And you have to be willing to give, not just receive, I feel. And again, like everything else, we didn't grow up learning how to do that. We were put in schools. We were in our communities. We were in our little villages, be it Abu Dhabi or Amman, or it just happened. We grew up with these people and she became my best friend. Here, you have to make that effort. But I've realized something. It's been like 6 years almost here. I have made friendships that I wouldn't like give up for the world. If you give that time and those intentions, it's really special, but it's a lot of effort. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen easily. But when it does, it's really, really beautiful.
I actually met 2 of my close friends on the walk. It's true that we had mutual friends and they were directed to come to join, but it was random. And now they're very close to me.
That's so nice to hear. Why do you think living in a fast-paced city, I really want to dig into this because I'm also trying to find the answer. Why do you think living in a fast-paced city affects building real friendships? You know, because we spoke earlier about going back to Amman or going back to Abu Dhabi or Syria or wherever your community is. And you go back into the routine and everyone's there. But why is it so hard here? Like, what's the challenge?
I think, like you said, the timing, and everyone's consumed by work. It's long hours of work that they want to do their own thing, maybe gym after work. And then they have limited time for friendships.
Do you think nobody has the energy for friendships anymore?
Yeah, it's like pick and choose. Do you want to have a good body? Do you want to have a successful business, your job? And then where does friendship come in play?
Which is so ironic because once you build these communities, so many people come into them because there's so much in need of it. So I'm so confused. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, everyone's very busy. Everyone has kids, work, whatever, job. So there's really no time to meet up. But then you make something so simple and you find 700 people, 830 people on a random Sunday. And it was raining too. So you would make the extra effort to come out inside.
Yeah, I was amazed. Thank you, ladies, for coming on a rainy day.
So it's such a breath of fresh air to see, but also sometimes I find that it's a bit confusing that there's so much need and craving for this. And yet there's no people find that it's impossible to meet up at the same time.
I feel like there is a need and there is a craving. But when you think of the ratio of people who actually show up versus the people who are following you or in your community, it's really... I think it's really still hard living in a fast-paced city. I think that scheduling, fitting in, making the time is still an aspect, whether you want to be a part of a community, whether you want to see a friend, whether you want to feel like it's a village, whatever it is, it's scheduled in. And that, I feel, takes a bit out of it.
Do you think this is what a modern village is now?
I think a modern village is very different than, very, very different than what we grew up in. And I think it doesn't necessarily have to do with where you are living now. In general, I feel like modern villages are just different spaces, different places, and different. Like, some of it's online, some of it's offline. It's not just like how we grew up. Even where we grew up, it's not like that anymore. It's not about your family and immediate friends around you and your cousins. And it's more of what you make out of it. You have so many friends all over the world. You have so many people that you have met. You have so many. It's how you make it happen anymore, I feel. Like you still do have your village. Like you still do have your community, your like sense of security somewhere in the world. But then the rest of it, it's what you make out of it, I feel.
Yeah, and the like you said, the aspect of planning and seeing the logistics, and it's a lot. And you can also look at how we are as neighbors. Like if we just dig deeper there, from before, I would see it from my family traditions. Like if there's a new neighbor, or you're prone to know all of your neighbors, specifically on like at least the floor that you live in. Here, people don't take that initiative. Because they come from different walks of lives, that you're kind of like cautious with whether to approach or not. You don't know their families. So people here like put up some gates where we're not even putting effort into our own neighbors. From before, if you made like an extra cake or something, you would send it over. These little gestures that just showed you like people are open to accepting and receiving like friendships. They're opening their doors literally, but now they're more cautious of who to let in or who to talk to. So there's that aspect too. Like you're a bit scared because you're hesitant. You don't know this person.
That's true, actually. I mean, in a sense, both of you have created a modern village in the sense where one is online with meetups as well. And the other one is every Sunday you meet up. So there's still a sense of community, but you're working within the limits that we have living in a big city. I also wonder if you applied Girls Who Walk and Arab Women Connect at home, if it would have the same impact. For example, if you started this group in Amman, or you started this group in, I'm not even going to say Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is too close. You started this group in Syria.
It started because of Girls Who Walk Dubai. They took it to
Girls Who Walk Syria?
Qatar, Riyadh.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Okay, well, I got my answer then.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. Girls Only, walking club in Syria and Riyadh and Qatar. There was in the talks for Lebanon as well years ago. But yeah, it's nice to see that this movement has really become a global movement.
It really has. So I got my answer.
Wow,
so both would still apply.
Yeah.
So what's one mindset shift you think that would help people be open to connection? Because you were saying that you made real friendships at Girls Who Walk, which means you were quite vulnerable, and Arab Women Connect, people were opening up about a lot of things. So what was one shift you think happened that allowed people to become themselves within this new community?
I think people understood the intentions behind, when girls are showing up to these walks, what are they looking for and how genuine these connections were. Because there was no hidden agenda. There was just there, come as you are. You're not coming in with your fanciest clothing or bag or anything. Like, it's just there because you want to make a friend or two.
Mm-hmm. For the group, I think, like Farah said, like, you feel the tone of the place. Yeah. Whenever you get into it, you just feel the tone of it. And surely we have like almost 800 women now, but the tone is still the same as it was when we were 50. Mm-hmm. It's all genuine help, real conversation, real people showing up for each other, genuinely like being there for each other. And you can feel it in the biggest things and the smallest things. I changed the logo of the group the other day. I had 6 women reach out to me because there was a misspelling. Like, how genuine, like how, that's not judgment. That's not criticism. That's actual support. Like,
and genuinely they care.
Yeah. Like, hey girl, we're with you. Like, it's
so
genuine
nice.
Support and genuine care. It's not, you can't make that up.
Yes, true.
You can't make it up. You can't fake it. You can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel that's
actually really cool. Like, hearing this and hearing how you spotlight women and you give women a platform to speak whatever they want to speak, be it business, be it a personal question, be it anything in just in general is really, really comforting. And before we wrap up, we do a little rapid fire. But before we do that, I wanted to ask both of you, if someone is listening right now and feels quite alone, in a big city, no family, what's one thing they can do this week to feel less lonely?
Joining the walk.
That's a good one.
I have a lot of girls messaging me like, I'm going to come alone. It's my first time. I'm a bit hesitant, and afraid, to be honest. So I tell them when they come, you're actually very brave for coming here alone, not knowing anyone. Mm-hmm. And even last time, there was a girl saying, I wanted to do something out of my comfort zone. That's why I came. And I'm so glad that I did. So it's really refreshing to do sometimes these things that you're not super okay with, but if you push yourself and then turns out that it's a nice experience, then why not?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What about you, Zain?
I would say just go for it. Whatever it is, just go for it. Stop thinking what people might think. They're going to think what they want anyways. So you do you. It doesn't matter. Show up at the walk. Mm-hmm. Create the WhatsApp group. Go on Instagram. Talk to people. I've wanted to have this group for a few years now. Every time I went through a hiccup, I'd be like, what if I had that WhatsApp group? What if I tell my friends to add their friends? What if? And I never did until a few months ago. And look at it now. It's my go-to place. It's a lot of women's go-to place. Mm-hmm. And you never know what might come out of any step in any direction you might take. So just take the step.
I think a lot of the times we actually doubt ourselves or let fear, take that decision for us. But if we just quiet down the noise and say, why not? What's the worst thing that can happen? And just go for it, then you can be amazed by what you do.
Yeah.
A lot of the things, when you just take a leap of faith, the amount of doors that open are incredible. Really, really incredible. It just needs just a tiny leap of faith.
100%.
And just believe that things will work out.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, we're going to do a little fill in the blanks. So I'll start with Zein this time.
Okay.
So I want to close with something super simple. Just finish the sentence, the first word that comes to your mind. No overthinking. Community is
Your safe space.
no one should ever have to blank alone.
And figure it out.
Farah, finish the sentence. Community is
Friendships.
no one should have to.
Struggle alone.
Okay. So just to wrap up, I think what this conversation makes clear is that community doesn't need to be big or perfect to matter. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about small, real moments, reaching out, showing up, letting people in, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because the truth is a lot of people are feeling this, even if it doesn't always look like it on the surface. And when you're building a life away from where you started, support isn't optional. It's essential. Not just for the big moments, but for everyday life. So maybe the takeaway is this. You don't need to have a perfect village to begin, but you do need to start somewhere. So if this conversation resonated with you, send it to someone who might need it. And don't forget to follow us on Balance Not Boring on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. So ladies, where can people find you? Farah.
Girls Who Walk Dubai on Instagram. And we usually meet up every Sunday in the afternoon. And during the summer, we actually walk indoors in the mall in the mornings.
Wonderful. Zein?
You can find us on our new Instagram page, Arab Women Connect, and send us a DM if you want to join our WhatsApp group.
Thank you both. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming on. This is a lovely conversation.
Thank you again for having us.